In today's video, we are checking out this brand new filter from Sicce, the long-awaited Sicce Mega Filtra. We're going to do an unboxing, set this up on a few tanks, and take a first look. Let's dive right in. You may remember videos from a little over a year ago. I actually went to Italy and toured Sicce's headquarters and got to see how some of these things were made and just get to know the company a little bit better. And in that same trip, I went to Interzoo in Germany, which is where a lot of companies show off new products and things to come. That's where I got a first look at the Sicce Mega Filtra. I talked to Jay Wilson about some of the features. It was just a prototype at that moment, but I was so excited for this thing to come out because I've used Sicce products for so long, but I was really looking for a big and powerful canister filter, especially for some of my larger tanks. But because I got some of that behind the scenes information about this product and what was to come, I think we can look at the key features that are obviously noticeable on the box and by looking at it, but I think I could extrapolate on some of the things they added to make this filter special. We have two different sizes and I'm very excited to check them out. So here is the first one, the 650. And here is the 900. And we have two of the three sizes here. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but we're going to open up the 900 here first. So excited for this.
Oh boy, I've been waiting for this.
So we have a box here that's probably some of the smaller parts. Oh, and we have the canister. Here it is.
At last.
All right, and here are the parts, which will include the quick disconnect that goes on top of the canister. And then we have the tubing here, which looks like the same material as the Sicce Whales, the previous smaller canisters, but I think these are just bigger hosing to allow for more flow. Comes with a bag of carbon. You have your intake and outtake, which are color-coded black and navy or dark blue. Then you have your different options and attachments to the intakes and outtakes. So here is the canister and everything that comes in the box. We'll go through this all in more detail, but you have the hosing here, 13 feet of it. You have the spray bar. This is the intake tube. This is the quick disconnect, intake and outtake. You have the outtake option if you don't use the spray bar. You have the color-coded intake and outtakes up here. This is part of the intake, which is adjustable, and I will show that. The carbon, and then these go on the bottom of the canister. These are pads that are sound absorbing. You just click them into here and then in the corners of the bottom of the filter, and we'll talk about that. It just being super quiet as well, because I think that's a huge feature of this canister. So the top of the canister here, you have a pre-filter with a safety release for the pre-filter. You have a prime button, and this is where your quick disconnect goes. But to take off the pre-filter, you just press this button, twist, and then you have your pre-filter here that comes with a sponge. This will be great mechanical filtration right when it goes into the canister. And to put it back on, you just click, and there you go. You got your pre-filter. This will be the prime button. We'll show how to use that here in a bit. You also have this handle, which I don't know if it can show up on screen, but is actually pretty heavy duty. And I would definitely think you could carry this around full of water without ever worrying for this to break. Some of the canisters that have had handles like this, I could not say the same thing. But let's go ahead and open it up and see what comes inside. So first off, you have the heavy duty clamps here that come off. And I did want to show the bottom here because I think this is pretty cool. You can see where the filter intake comes down, and then you have the impeller with a clear casing so you can actually see in it and see if you ever need to clean it for whatever reason. But I also love this, the Venturi tube. This sucks out any of the oxygen that's trapped in the filter, so you don't ever have the gurgling or the air pockets coming out, the big bubbles that you might have from some of your other big canisters. This takes care of it pretty much immediately. I think it's a really good feature to have that. And this is the top tray, which would have the impeller and the pre-filter kind of sitting down in it. And then you have one spot here for, they have bio rings that you could use, and you can easily take out the top tray, and you can see the different trays of media down below. So using the red handles here, you can pull it out. And this is what you have inside the canister. You have the three different trays with sponges, the coarse blue sponges around the outside, and then you have spots in the middle for more sponges, some different biomedia, and you could obviously alter this whatever way you want. I would probably put the carbon in the very top if you're going to use that. Otherwise, I would use different sponges, filter floss, or just the media that came along with it. The handles come off, and then you can access the rest of the trays. This has some finer filter floss type material with another sponge. And then the bottom has some more coarse sponges. So a lot of mechanical and biofiltration in this. And like I mentioned, you could add chemical filtration to the top here because the water flow does come down, around, and then up through the middle. So you would want your chemical filtration on top, and that's the easiest place to replace it if you ever need to. And to put back in the canister, you just stack them up. They align pretty easily, and then you clamp that back on, and then you just put this right back in to the canister. And then the top tray easily slides right on top. And one thing to note is the top here does have a really thick seal, probably thicker than most canister filters, which makes sure it's a really airtight seal on the top with the casing. Once you have the top on, there are 4 clamps that go on like that, and you are all set. You got your handle here, you just put down. Another thing that might be hard to come across on camera is just that this is kind of like heavy duty material. It is not like cheap plastic, so I do think it will not only be good for sound and making sure it's quiet, but also just for durability long term. And so this is the intake in black, and this is the outtake in blue. And you can see it's kind of cool. On the back, you can actually adjust your flow right here by twisting that, so that's maximum flow, or you could turn it down easily, and that will be kind of sitting behind your aquarium with the outtake coming this way. Also, you'll notice the adjustment on both of these, which is a really wide range for sitting on a tank with a wide rim, which is one of my favorite things so far about this canister filter. It can sit on my custom aquariums or on the acrylic tank with a wide lip. It can easily adjust to fit onto that, and that's something that other canister filters definitely had an issue with, even the biggest of those other canister filters. I really had to squeeze it and tie it down awkwardly to any of my custom aquariums, so I think that's just a great feature of this. You have your 2 intake pieces that go like that, and then the intake tube, this is kind of nice. It is very adjustable, so if you want it to be shorter, you could do it that way, or if you want it longer, you could have it towards the end here and get a much lower intake. For the outflow, you could either use the spray bar like this, or you could use the standard outflow. This is probably what I'll use. I kind of like that, and you could twist it any direction you need to. And then you have these 4 pieces, which are like little foam pads, sound absorbers that go right into each of these, and each of these go on the corners on the bottom to really absorb any sound that the canister might pass through your stand underneath or whatever floor you are using. This should be really quiet. So that is the completed bottom. And you just pull the handle down, and you have your quick disconnects here, which slide right in. Pull that down, and then you pull down the black lever, and this is locked in and ready to go. You just attach your hoses to these 2 pieces here. And the only real challenging part of installing a canister is cutting the hoses correctly. I would just say measure twice, cut once. I think that's a saying. And make sure you do not cut it uneven. Just attach the hosing really snugly to the outtake here. Once you have it on there, then you just turn this blue nut down until it is really snug, like that. Intake and outtake hoses measured and cut. Now we're going to put the canister under here. This is not full of water at all. We're going to test out the priming feature as we get this hooked up. We just put it down here. So we have all the hoses connected. Everything should be good to go. I'm going to plug it in, see if anything happens, and then I'm going to try out the prime button if we need to use it. So here we go. Let's try the prime button. 1 pump. You can already see it starting to come down. And you can start to hear it coming down into the canister, so just 2 quick pumps on the priming button and it's pretty much starting up basically completely empty, which is nice, especially if you're about to clean this and you go dump it out. You don't have to carry like a 40-pound bucket of canister water back. You can just use the priming button and make sure you top off the tank after you prime it like this. There we go. 5 seconds later, it's already coming out of the canister. and you can see it pulled down a little bit of the water. I needed to top off the tank, so I figured I'd do a little bit of a water change since we're here anyway, and then we could get a better look at the flow. So in the Sicce Mega Filtra 900, this is what it looks like more or less. So we are honored to be the first to show off this canister filter from Sicce, and it's been running on my 180 for a while now. It's been really smooth, really quiet, and as you can see, the flow is really solid. So let's talk a little bit more about the key features and also the sizes. So this is the 650, which basically just has one less basket than the previous 900 that you saw. And then we have the 900 here, and then there's going to be a 950 SDC, which is Wi-Fi controllable. So that is just incredible. It's gonna be one of the only canisters, I think, that has Wi-Fi controllability, and it's gonna be in the Sicce app along with all my other pumps and wave makers. It's gonna be able to send me notifications about when to do maintenance and temperature of the tank. It's just gonna be incredible. I think it's an awesome feature. So it's just a little bit bigger. It's a 950, so like 10 more US gallons is what it's rated for than the 900. And I'm gonna be putting that on one of my upcoming tanks. That's why I don't have it right now. But I think that feature alone, that Wi-Fi controllability, is an absolute game changer when it comes to canister filters. Just sending you a notification that the canister needs to be clean without guessing is pretty awesome. Some of the key features you can see right here on the box. The pre-filter I think is pretty cool, and you could really get creative with whatever you want to DIY and do with that, or you could just use the sponge. I think the reinforced plastic and material used on the casing and on the lid and the clamps and even the handle just really makes this feel like a quality, durable product. It's gonna last a long time, and like all the products from Sicce, or most of them I think, there is a 5-year warranty, and I think companies that use a warranty like this stand behind their products and expect them to last a long time. So that is an awesome feature as well. You don't get a warranty on most canisters. The internal baskets are a good size with plenty of sponges and filter floss and biomedia. I don't think you need to really do anything special by putting anything else in there. Everything comes with a filter that I would actually use, unless I was going to put in chemical filtration, which I don't always do. I think the priming button on top of the canister is also a bit of a game changer, because some of the canisters I've used, it's super annoying trying to lug a heavy canister that I just cleaned and put it under the tank, sloshing everywhere. You're trying to fill water up to the brim, but not too much that it's going to spill when you put the lid on. And just being able to put a light, empty filter under the tank and prime it by hitting the button once or twice is pretty awesome. I already mentioned how I like that the inlet and outlet are very adjustable and they're wide. They can fit on some big tanks. I've had issues with that with other filters in the past. They fit really securely on the brim of the tank, and you're able to clamp it so it doesn't move, and it's really flat. It stays out of view if you're looking right at the tank. I really like that part of it. I also think this is going to be one of the most quiet filters on the market. Canister filters themselves are usually pretty quiet because you could store them under your tank stand, but some of them still make some noise or rumbling or vibrations that come out through the wood or through your stand, whereas this is designed to make zero noise at all. I know that Sicce took additional steps to add things around the impeller to make that super quiet, as well as the casing towards the bottom of the filter is designed specifically to reduce noise, and then they went a third step and added those sound absorbing pieces to the bottom, those 4 pieces you clip on. So I really think this is going to be one of the most quiet filters you could possibly have on your aquarium. I will leave some additional details and specs in the description of the video, and I will also keep you updated once this is released. This is coming very soon. I don't have links yet because it's not available, but it's going to be coming very, very soon, and I'll keep the channel updated as soon as this is available. It's going to be coming out in different markets at different times, but it is going to be very soon, as well as the price point. I don't know that yet, but that will be released very, very soon. And if you have any questions about these filters that I didn't cover today, definitely leave those down in the comment section below. But thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.